university education. I try to somehow structure that domain of videos that I can think of. There's monologue, there's dialogue. Let's start with monologue. Lecture recordings. These are the classical videos to be used in university education. 1964, and even today, 2012, Leonard Susskind, another famous physicist, looks pretty much the same. He's not wearing such a formal suit, and he has a whiteboard rather than a blackboard. But lecture recordings didn't seem to change over those decades. Well, actually, if you look at the style of explanation videos that got popular on the internet, on YouTube in particular, something did change. Salman Khan was the guy who set things in motion. 2007, he began teaching mathematics to his relatives on YouTube, using YouTube, with pretty handmade videos. This style of video really made it. So these days, I guess we shouldn't be doing lecture recordings anymore. We should be doing this type of explanation videos. This is from my own MOOC, Massive Open Online course that runs on Udacity. You see that same style. So there's a team of video editors. It's still the same style. It's not highly polished in terms of, say, PowerPoint slides or stuff like that. It's handwritten. I show an example of my own. You do not need a studio to do that. You do not need a video editing team to do that. You can roll your own. This is a video that I did on my own. So you see it's a little older than one here, 2,000 views, a video on the forward Euler method.
To that, actually turns out that this derivative is nothing but minus the force at that very position. Why is that the case? Let's look at this valley. You're sitting here in the valley. If you're trying to move a little left or a little right, you should not be experiencing any force. So the force would be zero here. Same thing on top of this mountain.
Let me jump a little.
Definition. You're using the definition times the...
And so on and so on. So you see tons of mathematical derivations shown as a process, not as a completed slide, shown as a process. You can do this in mathematics, you can do this in computer science, showing the program as it grows. That's the currently popular style of explanation videos. And it turns out, research says, this style of video is the thing to be doing. Richard Meyer is the researcher who has done, I guess, most of the studies concerning this. He actually tried out tons of different settings, how to use multimedia in education, and did tests on that. How much do people actually remember, retain? And he found out that it's better to be informal, not formal, to be colloquial in your style of speaking, authentic, not have a professional speaker narrate such a video, but have an actual teacher explain. Reduce everything. No graphical clutter, no glitzy fonts, no 3D animations, maybe even no editing. Salman Khan's videos are not edited at all, so mistakes, whatever, no editing. I myself try to edit a little. Udacity videos are heavily edited, so this is why I put the question mark in there. Keeping things short and focused also helps in mobile settings. If you're commuting and watching a video during the commute, you do not want to have a video that's half an hour long. A similar type of video is the worked example, which I have to show in German because the worked examples that I record stem from my classes. These are live recordings.
Dann probieren wir mal Folgendes mit komplexen Zahlen. Minus 1/2 plus die Quadratwurzel aus 3.
You can read the equation, forget about the German.
Was passiert, wenn Sie davon die dritte Potenz bilden? Das müssten Sie jetzt stupide ausrechnen können und Sie kriegen ein überraschendes Resultat.
You saw that German Schnitt cut in there. So what I do is I ask a question, I pose a problem to class. This is recorded live during class, and then I walk around. I guess everybody knows about the flipped classroom. This is from the flipped classroom, an exercise as part of the flipped classroom. You can record that and use that as a video. I walk around, answer questions, look over the shoulders of the students.
Also wir behandeln das wie eine ganz
switch on recording again, switch it off again, and so on and so on. And after, say, 45 minutes of class, I have 12 minutes or so of video, recorded live. The next thing to be doing is to integrate quizzes, to move from this lean backward experience, like in the cinema, to move from this lean backward experience to a lean forward experience. The same experience that you would have with a game. Your hand is on the mouse, and there is no Facebook and whatsoever running in parallel on that screen. It's just the game. This is the experience I want to move to. That's the same that's tried in those massive open online courses. This again is a screenshot from my MOOC with Udacity. You see, this is one lecture, if you will, one unit. It contains 13 quizzes. All these dots here mark quizzes. 13 quizzes within one lecture, if you will. Quizzes of that style, multiple choice, programming assignments, a very great variety of quizzes in there to create this sort of lean forward experience. And that's difficult to author if you're on your own or have very little personnel. There's a student involved from Saarland University who creates a platform around my videos that's called Capira, where we try to integrate videos and quizzes and offer a very lean authoring environment for the teacher, for the educator. So we have two objectives: making the authoring of quizzes very lean, very simple, very quick. And actually the first and foremost objective is to tightly, seamlessly integrate videos and quizzes. This again is in German, but I guess you get the gist of it. I'll speak about video bandwidth in a second. I turn down the volume. So these are lecture recordings that are 2 years old from my remedial course on mathematics for engineers. You see, this is really not very glitzy and stylish. Nonetheless, these videos get 10,000s of views on YouTube. Content matters. So that's the old video, and eventually we get a quiz that's integrated with that old video. There's an authoring interface on that website, Capira, to build these quizzes, and these quizzes appear on top of YouTube videos. Let me jump to the first quiz. So if this angle equals 30 degrees, then this angle equals 60 degrees. This is layered on top of that old YouTube video and requires the viewer to think with me, the educator. Let's say, okay, was that correct? And so on. Now the video continues. We'll get the next quiz. The ratio of which side to the hypotenuse is the sine of beta. Should be this, and so on and so on. So these quizzes do not really interrupt that video. They are part of the flow of that video. That's what we're trying to achieve here. Plus a very simple and straightforward authoring interface. The interesting thing in university education would be to have dialogue, not this monologue that I presented so far. Dialogue with the students would be best, to have questions, to have answers, to be discussing, which is tricky to do in video. First of all, if you're recording 1 hour of discussion, it's going to be boring. There's lots of gaps, of pauses. It's not tight enough to be presented as a video. It's hard to find something in there if you're looking for a specific answer and you have 1 hour of video. It's really tough to find that. And at least in Germany, we have lots of privacy concerns. students become visible in that video. That's a tricky thing in Germany, in all of Europe, I guess. You wouldn't be able to use those videos again unless you get permission, written permission from all those students. So what I try instead is the inverted classroom, which was also covered in several sessions yesterday. The idea is to move from that old model where you have exposition in class, which is hard to understand, and practice at home or outside of class at least, where students try to solve problems and don't manage to solve those problems. You try to interchange these two, flip the class, invert the class, to have exposition, in particular via videos, and practice, and even more, hopefully, discovery, discussions during the face-to-face time. This is nothing really new. So there were 2 papers in the year 2000 on that topic, the classroom flip and inverting the classroom. Hence, we still have these 2 names, inverted classroom model and flipped classroom, these 2 coexisting names. Now I want to look into the use, the actual use that I see of the mobile devices with my students and with my videos. But first, a general remark on the use of mobile devices. So these days, the MOOCs, the massive open online courses, are on the front page of every magazine. We should be expecting that the providers of these MOOCs, with all their dozens of millions of dollars, should be able to provide mobile support. Obviously they are not. So this is from Facebook. End of September, is there an iPad app for edX? edX has funding of, I guess, close to $100 million, and they do not have full support for tablet or mobile browsers. This is the state of the art when you have tons of millions of dollars. So we have to be careful about mobile support. Even they don't offer mobile support. When I look at what my own students do, this is a pretty recent survey of my own students who I provide with the inverted classroom. I have asked them, okay, given my videos, do you watch them at home, in the lab, at the university, on your own notebook or other device, tablet or whatever, in the school, or do you watch them while commuting on the go? And you see 70% say they watched virtually all of those videos at home, and 60% say they watched none on the go. So the use of mobile devices, at least with my own students, is pretty low. I see the same on my YouTube channel. I have about 30,000 subscribers on that YouTube channel. So these are not my own students, mostly are not my own students. These are students from everywhere in Germany, Austria, Switzerland. And you see the same pattern. YouTube has this nice feature about total playing time. So you can look at the number of views, the number of clicks, if you will, and you can look at the total viewing time. 7% of the total viewing time was spent on Handy, it's the German word for phone, were spent on smartphones, and